and I manage India sales vertical and alliances. And it's been 10 years with the journey of Prospecta, and of course, selling MDO, strategizing the data quality, the data governance part, and of course, helping different industries in managing their complete business process of master data ecospace. Yeah. So yes, today we will talk about our speakers, who we are, like myself, Siddharth, and my colleague Ashish Modi has joined from Sydney, Australia, about overview, who we are, what we do, our MDM as a subject, overview of the product, and of course, how we are entangled with SAP, right? And how is the ecospace all about, the data quality journey altogether, like how we start from quality to transformation to your governance structure, different integration models, and of course, a quick flavor of the product, that how the product looks like, how the business function works, right? Yeah. So moving to the next one. So Ashish, he's my fellow senior colleague. Ashish, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for giving us this opportunity. I'm based out of Sydney, and I'm been with Prospector for a year now. And basically, my experience spans through, the pharma, IT, and the consulting industry. And my focus has been more towards the operational excellence piece and the supply chain and the manufacturing domains. And at Prospecta, I lead the Center of Excellence. And yeah, thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ashish. As I said myself, like 20 years in the market, I was a part of GE Healthcare Genpact and was managing the complete supply chain domain over there, moving to project management, IT consulting, client engagement, now heading the sales. Yeah. So talk about ourselves, about our organization. It's been 20 years in the market again. Yeah, of course. We founded in 2002, Ranjan Bakshi being the CEO of the company. He was a part of KPMG. He was an SAP Evapor altogether. But yes, mindset was more of automating the master data perspective. MDO, as Master Data Online, as a product that launched in 2008. That's a flagship, and that was a game changer at that point of time when we introduced that product. Creating, having that intent and the mindset that creating the data culture across different organizations, right? We're headquartered in Sydney, Australia. As I said, we are close to 300 people across the globe and working from India offices like Gurgaon, Noida, and of course in Bangalore. We have headquartered in Sydney, of course, in Melbourne, as well as moving to UK and the US offices as well. Focus again, data automation, data quality, data governance. The best thing about, and thanks to SAP, we are endorsed partner with SAP now. So endorsed partner is more of SAP certifies us technologically, as well as we share the complete revenue out of it. Yeah. And wherever SAP goes, of course, SAP talks about the master data. They talked about MDO as the best possible solution out of it. MDO is purely a SaaS-based approach. So it's like software as service is more of, purely on cloud, Amazon Web Services. And yes, to talk about more is like we have been mentioned in Honorable Gartner. So we are more of contenders from a master data ecospace perspective. And we were being nominated from a Gartner for means Forrester Tech report as well, like more of in the Q4 of 2021. Yeah. As you see, like we are tightly coupled with SAP being an endorsed app, all the data integration model, pre-configured business rules, and the masters. What we talk about, like in a master data happens with like more of materials, customer vendors, coupled with SAP S4 as well during the S4 journey. We'll talk about more on this, but yeah, talking about the magic quadrant and more often too, we were being recognized very well suited, apart from all the MDM partners, right? To more talk about the industry trends altogether, it's more of adaptation. So 10 years back, if you go, the master data was more of a overall layer it used to be, but now it is getting talk of the town to every manufacturing industry, because the awareness is getting more into it, that how we encourage more of master data, how we get into the data quality, the data governance, right? How we automate our data. Hey, look, you have a bad data, how we can help you out. So that's the trend which is going on right now. Of course, MDM as a process is not a cost-effective tool, but yes, it can very well give you that, that means that kind of highlight that, hey, look, there is some leakage which is happening across your organization, and how we should adapt a business development, or you can say a complete transformation out of it, right? And that's how we help that, right? Ashish, do you want to talk about more on this? Yeah.
Give me 1 second. All right. No, I think so. So that I'm fine with we covered this slide well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can yeah. So I mean, from an industry trend and benefits, as what Siddharth was mentioning, I mean, it's just an open question at this stage. I mean, how often are we finding that there is free text spending happening within our company? How often do we hear about cataloging being too hard, or having duplicate materials all across the eco space? Manual requisitioning, or time, physical, time spent on looking for spare parts, warehousing materials. So all of these are the cost generators that we see from a industry trend perspective. um, the benefits, definitely with higher quality data, and then in this sense we are talking specifically about the MRO data, based on a governance structure which we will introduce you through MDO, is all the value created rather than the cost generated. So the value creation part is very evident. You have improved working capital. There is a lot of automation happening. The cataloging process, say, for example, is simpler. Visibility of material inventory is current, actual. You find materials when you need them. The status of your materials in your inventory is true. It's not that I can see something, but when I go to find it, there is not that material available. So I think so the value created is really, really high. And that's one of the leading factors to go in for an MDM solution.
Absolutely. Yeah, so to talk about more of data quality perspective, that, as I said, cost effectiveness, like cost implications are there. So these are some of the, a quick statement which we have gathered from DNB report is like more of how many 100,000 data or 500,000 data you have, and how much you spend. You map the complete costing out of it, and how much is a percentage. This is all about. So this is more of data quality, because that's the stepping stone of getting into a master data management perspective. Because data, if you have a bad data, of course you will have a governance structure in place. So that's something which talks about more of the cost effectiveness perspective. MDO overview. So that's how come like you come to know about the solution altogether. So it's like a majorly 5 aspects of the product. So one is the baseline, which is MDO FUSE platform. So first thing is that platform is a low code and no code. You don't have to do the coding. It's a drag and drop, a purely configured platform. Okay, being into SaaS-based approach. So first aspect is the master data management, which we talk about our enterprise data solution, like more of improvising the quality of your data and do the governance in place. The second aspect is DIW, which is data intelligence workbench, which talks about your data quality, right? So DIW is a kind of a framework with your MDM solution altogether. We do the profiling. We help different industry to understand what is the current status of the data, enrichment, all these cleansing, codification, sanitization happens to the DIW. So DIW. So from our perspective, our major intent is to empower the customer, is to empower the user that you can do the cleansing by yourself. We can do it as a one-time activity because we have a separate team of MDAS, Master Data Service, where they help and build the complete library out of it, gives you the fuzzy logic of the exact match out of your, all your part numbers, material descriptions, nouns and modifiers, and all those stuff. So DIW enables you to understand your current quality of your data, eradicate all the duplicates, manage the complete data set out of it before we get into the governance structure, right? Analytics, of course, most important aspect. Hey, look, what is the current health of your data? How do we see that, right? And a holistic view perspective. So that's MD has a strong reporting framework, a dashboard framework, you can say that, where do the analytics part means perspective. You take out the trends of your quality or of your data quality or your governance part perspective. Yeah, Ashish, do you want to talk about more on this?
And yeah, I mean, so beyond analytics, I would say the metadata thing, which is the cataloging and the lineage solution, that's coming on. I mean, that's as part of our roadmap. So that you jump on slide, okay. No worries. So that's a part of our roadmap. The lineage piece is becoming more and more important in today's world. Having data traced from the source till where we use it. From a data integration perspective, um, you know, um, it's an important component. Doesn't matter where the source is. What is the source field, and that integration really brings in the data into the MDO platform. So those are those pillars as what Siddharth was mentioning up here.
Yeah, yeah. That's an overall platform overview. You can say that as we talk about more, like how the layer, the upper layer, if you see like FUSE of more of the low code, no code platform. So apart from the master data journey or the data quality, the platform also enables you to design your own process, how you can manage your complete process out of it, if apart from a non-MDM perspective, right? So we have a couple of good customers who are managing it, like for example, collaborating with their suppliers and customers and all this stuff, right? Data quality is more of major pillars of like how do you perform the deduplication part, make the complete data set consistent, how you manage the quality, the compliance, remediation of all those data sets. And of course, MDO has got a standard business rules, schemas, and validations, which is already pre-configured, designed as per the best industry practice, as per our experience into different customers, right? So these rule engine are very, very important to run your complete business, your complete process out of it, right? For end-to-end master data. And these workflows, as of course, workflows is a very, very strong aspect of master data, because that enables you a maker and checker kind of a process. Why? Because when you want to create a material, of course, as a lead perspective, you want to know what kind of material has been created, what is the description generation all about, what are the means what are the other logics you have put while creating the material, or while changing the material, or extending it, or to extend it out, right? And the workflow plays a very, very important role in doing a maker and checker kind of a role, because it goes from the initiator, it goes to the reviewer and approver, and accordingly it moves to your end system, which is S4 HANA or ECC, right? So that's something which is purely guided, purely plug and play, drag and drop, and accordingly you can configure the workflow in it. That's the power of the meets power of the product, right? Apart from that, source systems perspective takes from irrespective whatever system it is, like if it's a legacy system like Oracle or any kind of SAP ECC, or so for example, if you're getting into S4 HANA journey, you're going to start it. So that's the right time to get onto your data quality aspect, understand your complete set of systems, and accordingly move to your S4 HANA, because S4 HANA accepts the consistent data, right, with a governance structure in place. So that's how we play an important role in highlighting all these aspects very, very, very minutely. Yeah, Ashish, do you want to speak more on this?
One highlight I would like to bring out at this point: it's one solution, it's one MDO across data quality and governance.
Right, absolutely. As we talk about MDO for SAP, we are endorsed app. It means we are federated like enterprise master data strategy altogether. Of course, predefined data models. We have an inbuilt integration like HCI, HANA Cloud Integration Platform, through BDP, right? And of course, there's like purely industry agnostic. All the materials, customer, vendors, all these standard materials are part of the system of the product, which is inbuilt, which is pre-configured. Of course, the maintaining all your golden records, and of course, from a product perspective, it is purely AI and ML based, because it validates the data automatically. Okay, it gives you the prompt, it gives you all those highlighters that, hey, look, you are entering a wrong data, right? And that's how the process has to be. So it is all embedded with your SAP system. Of course, that's something which is again a very, very important aspect to know for all the SAP customers altogether. Yeah, Ashish, any other point you want to add it on?
I was just saying, from a SAP landscape perspective, we are also working with the AIN network, and the CFOS contents it's coming in. So again, this will be an extra layer of integration, or how we work with the SAP landscape, and I think so it's very interesting times. The AIN piece is very, very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, journey, it's a long journey, of course, when you do the complete health assessment of a data, how the data looks like, irrespective, whatever data it is and where the condition is, and how you profile it, do the enrichment, you understand the quality of the data, the current status of the data, there's some missing information or missing part number or description, anything can happen in the data, right? And how we cleanse and enrich and how we govern. And this is something which is embedded. Why? Because this is something which is really like, it has to be, this is the actual process to ensure your data quality is at par, and you have a structured governance in process, right? Ashish, any other
Yeah.
comment?
So I would just take a little bit more time on this slide, and for customers who are embarking upon this journey of data culture, I want to highlight it could be that you don't know how good or bad your quality of your data is. The second piece could be yes, I know the quality of my data is not that great, or that what we've done this exercise, we've cleaned up, and we don't want to be in that state all over again at any given point in time. So based on what phase of the journey you are in, if you don't know what you don't know, I would recommend that go in to start with a data health assessment. This exercise really gives you the opportunity to do a thorough analysis on your data across the fields or categories like accuracy, completeness, uniqueness, compliance piece. So I mean, all of that can be done, and assessment report comes through for you to understand your data quality. Beyond that, knowing what the problem is, you of course then need to start working on the problem, which is more about cleansing and enriching the data. So cleansing is a tool like DIW that MDO has gives you the opportunity to say remove duplicates, look out for missing aspects of data. And beyond that, there is the enrichment piece. You got the manufacturer part number available to you. Can a tool or can someone else go in and enrich that data? So now, all in all, you have data which is good. You have removed the duplicates, you have a golden record. And now at this point in time, you want to make sure that your data is not being corrupted, or no bad data enters your system. And that's where we would say start with the governance piece, which is the active piece, so that you have a process and you have checks and balances in your system to make sure that we are not introducing bad data again. So
Right. Yeah, and that should be the key. Why? Because
yeah.
the system will not let you enter any kind of bad data until unless you perform all these previous activities, and that is highly recommended for sure. Yeah. Yes. For you, Ashish,
Yeah.
MDO governance models. Yeah, that's
So
very
I think so.
interesting.
We covered a little bit of that in our previous slide or the talks, and it's all about the two governance models of data. As we said, looking at the data quality, profiling, cleansing, enrichment is more of the passive governance, which allows you to correct and enrich data. And then you have something else, which is the active data governance, which we spoke about, which is and again, the two concepts out here are like so for the, say for example, the non-gated aspect is sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay. All right. So I
Yeah.
was just saying, then the active governance is based on either you can complete complete all the governance activities, say in an outside system like MDO, and then once it's approved, you send it across into SAP, and then you get the record available in place. Or the other aspect could be that you start with MDO, you just create some header materials or header records in SAP, and then you bring the material or the data back into a governance engine, and then as in how your other users needs to enrich data or fill in more data information, that can happen and go back. So again, those three models are supported.
Right.
All right. So again, Siddharth mentioned before that within MDO and the integration that we have with SAP and the focus we have with SAP, we already have out-of-box pre-packaged solutions across these many masters. So if say within materials, your material master, um, your bombs, routings, recipes, all of these masters that you have in SAP are already pre-configured and available through MDO. And again, doesn't matter. We have solutions both for S4 and for ECC, so that's all in place. And then again, you can look through. We have a wide breadth of coverage in SAP. So that's materials for MRO or any other material type. You got maintenance with function, location, equipments, plans. So the breadth of coverage is very high, and yeah, these are all the masters which are covered as standard.
Yeah, and these are all pre-configured. You just have to drag and drop and create the master and transform them.
This basically saves you a lot of effort. You're not starting from scratch. These are available out of the box, as we say, and then your implementation journey is really reduced, fastened, I would say.
So the business rules, the schemas, the validation for each of these masters and their sub-masters are already pre-configured in the system. So this makes your life more easier. But yeah. Talk about
Right.
SAP integration architecture.
Yeah, I can take that. So basically, if you see the architecture out here, I think so there's always a question in mind: how difficult is it to integrate, a third-party system, and then with SAP, and the architecture is very simple out here. We go with the SAP business or the BTP system, and this comes standard along with MDO. So once you subscribe to MDO, the BTP infrastructure is already paid for, comes along with MDO, and we do the integration through cloud integration. On the customer side, with your SAP instance, we expect you to have the cloud connector, and your ECP, ECC and your S4 will be connecting through the cloud connector, and then you have the the tunnel. So the diagram says it all. It's a very simple architecture and integration. Also, all of this is supply, it's standard documents that comes along with MDO, and our experience is that this can be set up within a week, so the connectivity and integration can happen in fact a few days time. And all the standard data models that we spoke about, we have the transports which come into the customer environment. Prospecta namespace programs are also shared with the customers, which you just need to import into your system, and off you go.
Yeah. And of course, both push and pull function is, of course, you can really fetch your data on a real-time basis, and you can really like an outbound perspective. Yeah, that's again. Yeah. Ashish, over to you. That's something which is your subject.
Yeah, sure. So again, of the many domains that we spoke about or we showed you, we have capabilities in finance, HR, assets, and in materials. Space is one of those areas where I would say there is a lot of our customers find pain, and I think so. If you read through the challenges, I think so it's a common pain that we've heard many times. It's about the high inventory carrying cost, which we need reduction in. Not able to find the right parts, poor description. Again, free text purchasing. I can't find a part. I'm just gonna, raise a new PO. Excuse me. And I'm gonna, go ahead and purchase something. Now, not only are you, creating extra inventory, but the spend analysis goes for a toss. Um, Again, taxonomy standards, how do we follow all of that? So all, critical parts not being available, having multiple records and not knowing what is that one standard record or a golden record in the system. Um, Yep. And also supplier collaboration or partner collaboration, right? I mean, all of these are the challenges. And we say that with our solutions, we meet all of these. So something that I want to highlight out here is the industry standards, the UNS PSC that we follow, and also our Connect Hub library. So Connect Hub library is a library um, that we host of a few 100,000 materials. And basically it helps from a space perspective that when we were talking about enrichment. So say for example, you come across a space which has no relevant data, or you need to enrich that spare part. um, Rather than going out, if we match against our Connect Hub library, and if we have that part available, or the description, or the details available, it gets enriched directly through our Connect Hub library. So that's an important thing that to think about. I already touched base a little bit on the AIN, which is the SAP Business Networks piece. Um, I think so. Those are the areas, and typically what we've seen is the benefits realized by customers is been in the range of 5 to 10%. Either from inventory holding cost, or just their space procurement. Bringing in more efficiency in that area. Yeah, and what we have is a few customers on your right who are our customers using spares. And now similar thing on the data quality for asset data. The challenges are more so from data rules for assets not being documented. And again, there is a lot of unstructured data in there. Low data collaboration with partners. There are no defined industry standards or taxonomies followed. Manual processes to request for master data creation. So that's where the governance piece comes in. And again, reiterating our solution with data quality piece coming in, and with active governance coming in, you are basically being able to bring in structure and some process to the madness, I would say. Benefits typically realized have also been that automation of data. So 60% of master data requests will not need approvals anymore, and they are automated based on governance rules and those things in there. So basically, that's the two areas that I wanted to highlight, where majority of our customers see or gain efficiency and ROIs.
Yeah.
All right, I can just go with that. So that, yeah. So differentiators for MDO, as we initially I highlighted, it is one system for both data quality, governance, and data stewardship. It's a SaaS-based product available on the cloud, so it's a quicker ROI on your investment. Easy to deploy and configure, as Siddharth mentioned before. It is low code, no code type of an environment. Practically everything is configurable, and we try and not have any customizations. Very rarely do you go into that path of coding and customization, but apart from that, it is all very user friendly. UI is what drives the creation of business rules, the configuration, and we basically say a customer can configure and start using the system on their own. That's how easy it is. We already highlighted predefined data models for both domain and the system. So from the perspective of the masters that we spoke about, all of those masters are pre-configured with the existing business rules that you would have habituated within SAP. That's all in there. AI/ML based data quality, so that touch base a little bit on that. Industry specific content for standardization and compliance. So we spoke about the various ISO codes and the UNSPSC compliance that we make it. Very important one out here is less reliance on IT and more self-managed. And I spoke to you, a little bit about that it's all configuration based. Once the connectivity is set up, I think so that's pretty much what you will rely on the IT. Beyond that, it is all configuration, and data stewards and admins can manage the whole system on their own. And of course, it provides you the foundation for a digital transformation projects. You could be in the journey for any of your digital processes or your S4 transformations, moving on to the S4. So with that, Siddharth, anything that you need to add on differentiators?
Yeah, just one more point. I believe being MDOs onto cloud, which is Amazon Web Services, we are partnered with, which actually gives you a warranty of 99.9%, which means it states that your complete data set is like fully secured. It is means like a auto archival, and it's like confidentiality we maintain. Means from that perspective, that's something which is again a very, very important aspect. And of course, as you said, less reliance on IT, self-managed, so you don't have to depend on us. Rather, you can be the own admin of your system, right? It's just a quick drag and drop configuration, and you can define your roles, your users, and all your fields or workflows, and accordingly you can manage the complete system out of it. So these are some of the points which makes MDO different from the other ones, of course. Yeah, so I believe it's time to have a quick view of the product. Ashish, if you have the access, if you can just show to our fellow customers that how the product looks like, what are the functionalities, how we manage the system, a quick flavor of Material Master. I believe that will be much sufficient, right? Yep. Over to you.
All right, I'm sharing my screen. Guys, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, I'm going to run, in interest of time, run you through a video. And this is, just the material creation process. The idea is to give you a flavor of what the product looks like and, how the governance is structured into the product. So basically what you see up here on your screen is your login page. And, once logged in into MDO, you have your various, profiles there. Then you go to your data sets, and what you see on your left are the various masters which have been configured into the system. So you see a bill of materials, equipment, maintenance plan, material master. So for this one, we'll just go through the material master piece. And once you're in the material masters piece, you're creating a new record, or this, which is now a request actually for a new material. So what you see up here, will be very familiar fields that you should see in your basic data of your material master. And one unique thing that we haven't spoken before in our presentation is the description generator functionality. So basically, our short description is a 40 character thing, which is an SAP limitation, but you still have the long description. And this is one of the aspects how you bring in standardization, because now I'm not the person who will say single is SGL or SG. I don't make my own abbreviations. The system has the capability of generating the description for you based on the noun modifiers that we choose for. So we'll just have a look at that. So someone's going in and creating, or choosing a class of ball bearing, and they are putting in the attributes of the spare up there. And what you see up there, the system is already generating the short description and the long description based on the attributes that the user chooses for. So this is a big thing that will help you in your data governance, or maintaining the data quality going forward. So yeah, let's wait. So you see, yep, the descriptions all being populated, and then you're going into your basic data, adding just and reference old material, net weight, gross weight, and this is pretty much what the user is going to do at this stage and save the record. Now, I spoke a little bit about inbuilt validations of business rules. So basically, there is a validation which even SAP does, which MDO does, is around net weight cannot be greater than the gross weight, right? Just as an example. So the system will stop you going forward from there on, and the data needs to be corrected before the user moves ahead. So now on saving the record, a record with number ending in 6 was what was generated. We will see some process logs. It will give you information as to who initiated the record, and based on the workflow, it's showing that the next person who is going to review the record. So you have all of that information in your process log, and that's actually the traceability of your complete flow as well. So logging out and then going into the next user who is the reviewer in this case. Go into the inbox and you will find that record is now in the inbox for that person to carry forward the review process. Also interesting at this stage is, okay, we'll just wait, I want to stop here and say, so initially the record was just created at a plant or a header level. Now out here you have the opportunity to further extend the material to different plants within your organization, and also within the plants you can go for different valuations, storage data types. So we'll just have a look at that. So the user is now extending this material to multiple plants, and within plants then they can so now more mandatory information becomes available based on the plant level data that we need to fill up. So the MRP type, the reorder point is being entered. I'm just going to skip a little bit.
So all these are standard fields and tabs and headers, which has been pre-configured, right? Ashish?
Yeah. And we're just extending, putting valuation types, or you can go in for storage types. So just to give you that flavor of that capability, that you are maintaining those materials as you would do in SAP.
So all your workflow log, the SLA hours, you can maintain the hours at within how much time you should be able to approve or reject it. So that's something which is a standard core functionality of the product perspective. Yeah.
Yep. So at this stage, the user, the reviewer or the extender has done that, and it's gone for the final approval. And the person who's doing the final approval will also look into and try to approve. Also interesting out here is that there can be certain checks and on data fields, which you can say that it's not mandatory for a reviewer or an initiator, because at times, not that information is not the responsibility of that particular role. But when it comes to the final approval, the person needs to be able to, make sure that those fields are, entered correctly. So that's why you see more validation and checks being put in place. And basically, the approver is scanning through, making sure all the data is correctly filled up. And beyond that, they will go and approve. And at this point in time, the material completes its process in MDO, and with the integration back to SAP, the material is now ready and sent back to SAP, and it gets integrated there. So basically, that's a little bit of the system demo.
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to get it back guys. Okay, stop share.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ashish. So means to talk about our intent again is more of ensuring that we have data quality in place and automate the complete data governance journey of each and every customer altogether. Yeah.
And a
Thanks.
one-stop solution.
Absolutely. Central repository for everything. Correct. We thanks to SAP for providing us this platform to talk about the product and our vision and mission of ensuring the data quality and data governance journey altogether. Thank you so much, Mukesh.
Thank you so much. Two questions because we are running out of time. Number one, how is it licensed? Is it user-based, data-based? I mean, how is your product licensed?
So MDO is purely a user-based license. Yeah, it's purely a user-based.
Named user, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Named user, and there is no implication with the SAP users perspective.
Yeah, since your BTP licenses are included in it, there is no additional licenses from SAP.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How long does it take for a customer to go live from the time they decide to buy?
So I would, Mukesh, I'll put it this way. As we put in there, it depends on the number of masters that you're going in for to start with. Secondly, I would say, it depends on how much are you willing to standardize the process. So a big, tick of approval would be, doesn't matter how many plants or how complex you are, but if you standardize your processes and if you keep, a standard across your various processes, that are the components which will really make it easy for you to go for a quicker implementation. As I said, out of the box, you're going for a material master out of the box, use the validations. Yes, your business will need a few more business rules, which can be very quickly configured, and stick to the standards. I think, with all of that, about 12 weeks is something which is achievable per master, I would say.
Okay. And in terms of governance, right? So one of the biggest problems when it comes to data quality is the difficulty of maintaining quality over a period of time, which means the governance become that much more critical. Otherwise, every 2 years, you have to clean up your data again and again, right? So I saw that you mentioned 3 types of governance that your product offers. Maybe a little bit of insight on what is the most used, and if there are any best practices that you have seen that customers can actually use to ensure that over a period of time, data quality remains high.
Sure. So to keep the data quality high, Mukesh, I would say you'll absolutely need the active governance, or which is the the normal governance that we saw about. But to start with, if you're in a bad shape right now, if your data quality is not that great, then I would highly suggest that you start with the passive governance, which is the data quality. Look at your data quality, improve the data quality, because you don't want to be in a situation where you have bad data, but you're starting to governing the new data coming in. But at the same time, not everyone has the luxury of really stopping their, doing anything, doing the data quality improvements first, and then going for active. So we've also, support scenarios where, you could start with active governance now, and then you are on a periodic basis, taking, say, 100,000 materials at a time, and then you're cleaning up or doing the passive governance piece. You're cleansing and enriching that data in parallel, but at least you're stopping garbage coming into your system. So it's a good combination. It all depends on what the customer needs are. How much time can you afford, and which model the customer makes best sense for the customer.
Last question. What is the sweet spot? What kind of customer would find your product really compelling right now, and where can they reach you guys, or where can they find more information about buying your product?
So if you ask this question, so from that perspective, the customer base should be a large enterprises, because the data set or the volume of the data is huge. And of course, the quality of the data means data will get improvised if the quantum of the data set is huge. So large customer ranging from a manufacturing industry or a pharma can be a good one. And they can find us. We are always available in our website, prospecta.com, right? The website speaks the volume, speaks about the product, our vision, our mission, and all those stuffs which a customer wants to know, including our use case study as well.
Yeah. I think your product is also available on SAP Store for purchase as well.
Yes,
so
it is an SAP App Store as well. We are the only master data player who is in SAP App Store of 30 apps. Right.
Super. Thank you so much for taking time and sharing your insights with us. I know that no digital transformation program is complete unless your data is clean. Data-driven decision making is super critical going forward in the very uncertain environment that we operate in. And in order for that to work, you need to have your data clean. So please look up the solution offered by Prospector and reach out to them or to me if you want to get more information. So thank you so much for your insights and sharing today.
Thank you so much, Mukesh.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mukesh.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.